The Humble Birth of Varnas. Chapter 1 Introduction. The modern human civilization, as we know it, originated from groups of simple hunter-gatherers. Our natural instincts eventually made us slaves to farming, wherein, despite the hard work to be put in was high, the danger to life was minimal. Over time, all surviving humans, or a vast majority, were simply farmers, and such was the case all over the world. Civilizations came into being, and slowly but surely there were other jobs to be taken care of. There was the need of trade to be conducted, wars to be waged, and most importantly, the need for collective belief in the gods that kept the whole civilization in check. The most obvious problem that then emerged was how each contribution to the civilization would be rewarded. As with all major solutions we find to problems with large data, we simply organized the data into data sets. These would eventually come out to be called as Varnas. Also, though debatable, the origins of the Varnas were not from the state kings enforcing them upon the masses, but rather the masses simply choosing what contribution they were able to provide comfortably. Then on came the question of the contributions that were necessary but had no takers, and those that simply had too many. It comes as no surprise then that the more undesirable contributions came with the highest rewards. What could these undesirable contributions be? Well, to answer this, we have to take ourselves to that time and be a part of one such civilization. Chapter 2 The Stone Age. Did you hear? The leaders have announced that the food required to keep us through the winter has already been harvested and stored. We have barely started our harvests. I am so glad farming has given us so much, and nothing makes you happier. The harvesting season has proved to be a success, and there is no reason to worry, and the news of it spreads across your village. They killed our men and took our children. All our harvest has been stolen by the neighboring village. And immediately having a trained group of soldiers makes so much sense. But they cannot possibly expect a farmer to toil all day at the farm and then go through an intense training session for war. Needless to say, there is excess production as is. So, when the leaders propose an army, you happily agree. You also willingly send both your sons for the training and continue to toil in the farm with the other widows, reminiscing the happiness you had earlier and recalling the horrors of loss. You are confident that life will now be easy. Harvest season is finally here. The crops have survived, and we expect to have a lot of excess this time as well. Our army held against the barbarians. Our food will last through the winter. Everything worked as planned, and you would be rejoicing if not for the fact that one of your sons sustained injuries and passed away after suffering from agonizing pain for over a week. You make up your mind and convince your surviving son that he give up the life of a soldier and take up farming. Chapter 3 the birth. Henceforth, the trend continues until the contribution of a soldier has to hold some merit over the other relatively safe contributions. As time progresses, there is a need for dedicated astronomers, physicists, mathematicians, and so on. A similar problem presents itself. For a population so accustomed to farming and warfare, devoting their life to pure academics is not really an interesting prospect. At the same time, there open up opportunities of trade, and this warrants an even more courageous, adventurous, toiling, yet intellectual group of people. The solution to get people to volunteer was simple: place more merit to the position they would hold. The responsibility of assigning these merits and keeping the society balanced was undoubtedly the king's. However, they were always guided and assisted by the most intelligent group of the population. Hence were born the four Varnas: Kshatriyas, the warriors; Brahmanas, the scholars; Vaishyas, the merchants; and Shudras, the laboring class. The four classes effectively helped the civilizations tackle the problems of the modern world and its demands. Of course, for the majority of the time when the Varna system was in place, becoming part of any Varna was voluntary and synonymous to choosing a profession. Chapter 4: The Varna becomes hereditary. Parents became increasingly satisfied by the contributions they were making towards the society, mainly fueled by the fact that they were good at what they were doing. They, the parents, would henceforth influence their children into believing that they continue and build upon their legacy. The transfer of skills was also easier in the parent to child setting, as the child would be exposed to the various challenges of the job and would undoubtedly be better at coping and dealing with the same. It became so much so that the children would surpass their parents in terms of skill much more earlier in their lives, and would hence lead to more efficient labor and development in their respective fields. The child of a, say, merchant would not only know all the trade secrets of his parent, he would also be well versed in the local languages of three other nations. He would know of the shortest trade routes, best items to trade, and so on and so forth. He would, at the age of 16, have all the tools of life that his parent, aged 50, holds. Imagine the feats he would achieve. The son of a farmer would not only have the knowledge of when to sow, bow, and harvest, but he would be excellent at handling farm animals. The knowledge of good quality seeds, as well as the handling of harvest, well before the age of 16. Such examples would all contribute to the conclusion that soon the Varnas came to be looked upon as hereditary rather than the voluntary origins they had.